if I can get... Hey, Lauren. Just getting started. My light is really dark for some reason. Let's see if I can get this. Hello. Hey, everybody. Oh. Let's see if I can get up here and talk. Just gonna give a few minutes before I get started. I have lots to share tonight. Hey. Oh, it's so nice to see some familiar faces. Tammy and Sharon, Catherine. Hello. Hey, Mary. That's awesome. This is so much fun. I love seeing all these people come on here. It's great. Well, I'm gonna just let this kind of sit here for a minute and let everybody kind of join in before I get started. Hey, Jen. Oh. Hey, Sue from Australia. And Jen's watching. Jen Frost, my other Crafty Carrot girl. Tanya. Hi, guys. Hello. This is awesome to have everybody here. I'm just going to wait just a few more minutes to see. Let some other people join on. They're probably just getting their notifications that we're going live. So give a few minutes. I was looking at our membership, you guys. This is amazing. We have nearly 500 members this month. It just blows my mind. So thank you so much, you guys. This is wonderful to have this kind of response in our community, and I hope you're enjoying the program so far, as well as participating in everything, including this Sunday shares. Those are always, I love hearing all the responses and what you're having a hard time with stamping and what stumps you. And so those are really some insightful things for Jen, Krista, and Susan and I. So we're going to take all of those notes and take in consideration over the next few months of what we can do to offer you some stamping solutions. And so one of them I'm going to actually work on tonight is how to build a card. And I'm going to do it with a case product. So I'm casing something that I saw as an inspiration, and I'm going to show you how I change it to make it my own, and then also add and enhance it to build it up to make it a little bit more of a wow. So I'm using Stampin' Up products, and so the case is not from us, is not a Stampin' Up case. It's just something that I saw out there. I look at everywhere out in the paper craft world, and so it was something that I saw. So I actually printed up a copy of it so I could share with you guys the inspiration and then kind of give you where it led. And then that, in turn, that card that I made gave me the inspiration to make something else, which was like a little pizza box, gift box. So I love that when we go from one step to the next step to the next step, keep adding and I love that. So we're going to be sharing that tonight. So it's a cased, and if you don't know what case means, case is copy and share everything. Copy and share everything. Yeah, that's it. So it's when you find something out there that you love and you case it, which means you case the layout, you do exactly the same layout, or you do the same colors, or you do the same, I mean, you could basically just copy it completely, case the same. I know a lot of people case the catalog, and so they do that for their own business to show those samples live to their customers. Hey, hi everybody. I see all these people jumping in. That's so wonderful. Hi, Jackie. And so what I was saying about, you know, that they case the catalog. And so a lot of times we case other things that we see out there as well. Sometimes for me, somebody was asking, you know, how do you look for inspiration? How do you find things? So I'm going to give you my little tip as a concept artist and what I do and what I look for when I am stumped or when I'm looking for inspiration. So sometimes I go on Pinterest. Not sometimes, a lot. I love Pinterest. I love Pinterest since day one when it started. And I remember being a demonstrator and going to a Stampin' Up event, and I was talking to Jen Campbell, who is a concept artist, and I remember asking her, so how do you do this? Where do you get your inspiration? Where do you find to do all this stuff? And she looked at me and she goes, Pinterest. And that was way back in the day. That was when it first came out, and that was when I was like, okay. So I have many secret Pinterest boards. I even have some Pinterest boards that I share that are Stampin' Up! Inspiration boards. I have ones that have my own creations on there. So I have many Pinterest boards. I have my secret ones. Whenever I'm doing a catalog at work now, I have one for annual, I have one for occasions, and I have one for holiday. So if I know I'm going to be working on something, I'm pinning things into those categories so I know when I go back I can look for it. I also have an inspiration. It's like just an inspiring idea, like something else that I see out there, whether it's a color combination or a technique or just something else that I look for. I just pin that to my inspiring ideas. I do share one also with my friend Melody and Caitlin. Anytime we find ideas or really inspiring creations, we always pin that to them. So I have secret boards too. Yes, Jackie, I think we all do. But one of the things that I do when I look for inspiration, when I create a card, it might not be like an exact case of that card. But I may say, oh, I like that color combination, and I like the way that they did that background, or I like the way that they thought out of the box with this stamp. And what I do is I kind of take everything and I merge it and make it my own. So it's not that it's just one idea. Sometimes it's multiple ideas, and I just take and I merge it all together and make it my own creativity. I know that several of us at work, anytime we see something, I know Jen Campbell, she's awesome. She takes notes like, okay, I want to try an ombre technique, or I want to do a watercolor technique, or I want to do a fun dye tip, or technique. So she's got a list of things that she does every time we start a catalog. And then she'll go over that list and she'll check off when she does things. So that way she's constantly trying to think of creative new ways to share with you guys in our annual catalogs, our holiday and occasions catalogs. So that's just one of the things that, if I remember way back in the day, I used to I don't know how many, give me some loves. If you remember, you would take the picture, the inspiration, and you go and get it printed, and then you have a binder and you slip in all the printed ones, and you would slip them in. And I had binders, 2-inch binders full of inspiration. But now we get Pinterest, so that's even better. So like to keep notes too, yeah. And the other thing I do is I do sketching. So Melody and I do this a lot. We love to sketch. So we'll take a notebook. I have a notebook, and I do a little random sketch. If I find an idea pops in my head, I'll grab my notebook and I will just sketch a little random. Okay, I like this size, I like the shape, and I'm thinking I want to add this, and so I do a lot of sketching sometimes, especially when I'm planning pieces. I even did this way back in the day when I did Artisan. If I was doing 3 pieces of the same stamp set, I would sketch. Okay, I want to do a larger card, I want to do a smaller card, and then I want to do a larger, so then I kind of would go and do my sketching, and then I'd have notes and kind of what colors I wanted to use. I also have, do you guys have this? Let me see. if you don't have one, you should make one. It's really nice to have on hand. So is the color palette. You know, all of our colors, we gave this away at, I think, Leadership a while ago. But even just to have like color swatches, and then like I take this apart and like put colors together that I see on Pinterest or something and try to find Stampin' Up! Colors that kind of coordinate. I know Krista is fantastic at doing color combinations on her blog, and she always does tons of different ways to do color inspirations and different combinations. I love that she does that. So yeah, look at those pretty colors. They're just so gorgeous. So do you decide the layout of your card first, or do you just let it come together as you go along? Sometimes I let it just kind of bring itself together. It depends on the stamp set. If it's something that has like a background piece where there's something that I can add texture with stamping on the background, then I'll let that begin the layer, and then I'll do the die cuts and I'll start to build it all together. Sometimes I have parameters at work, so I have to go along with what I have to use. So if there's like a label in the stamp set that I have to use, I'm kind of like restricted on what I have to do and how I start the card. But mostly is a base. I love doing like a base, card base, and then doing another card base the same color, and then adding some kind of like texture, whether it's in stamping or embossing or some other kind of, you know, changing that background, and then adding a focal front to it. And so one of the things tonight that I'm showing you is kind of that idea that I did. So hey Monica. So I hope that kind of helps. How I begin and how I create, how I start to plan a project, many things you can do, but Pinterest is a really great thing. And you can just do Google search too. You can just do a Google search and use Google. So let's see. I think we have quite a few people on. I can probably turn around and get started. Now that I kind of gave you a little bit of an idea of how I begin a card, and then as I proceed, I'll probably talk through a lot of it and show you how I created this card and kind of just stepped it up to a little bit more than just what the case is. So awesome, good. Okay, well, one of the things that I was going to share with you, I didn't finish. Okay, so I have my card finished, but I did not finish the gift box, but I'm going to finish it tonight, so that way is a little bit shorter of a time. So I do have all the die cuts already cut out, but if you're following along with me, I'll do the card, and then you can do the gift card box afterwards, so if that makes sense. So then that way it won't be taking up all of your time this evening, but I'm going to give you the tips and tricks of how I'm going to do the pizza box, and then you can do it later on. Okay? All right, so let me go ahead and turn you around. Get started. Remember, we're doing Sailing Home. Just give me a second. And you can still respond and ask questions, and I can see all of those still here. Let me just turn my light so you guys can see really good. There we go. How does that look? All right. So, Sailing Home. I've already told you all the little details, and if you missed it, make sure you go back and watch our kickoff. I gave you some juicy little background tips about the stamp set and the dies and all the pieces that went with it, so make sure you check that out. And then last week, Susan did her masculine card. Really quick and simple, easy card. I thought it was adorable. I love her layers. Susan has such a style, and I just love how easily she can do those layers. For me, I'm a little bit more simple and to the point. Hi, Amanda. Hello. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to get started. Here's my card. Let me first share with you the inspiration. Okay, so this is my case. I went on to Pinterest. Like I said, I love Pinterest. And I just started typing in sailboat cards. And because I knew I wanted to use the sailboat, because in my sneak peek last month in the blog hop, I'd used the lighthouse, which the lighthouses are one of my favorite things. I have a collection of some ceramic lighthouses, and I've always loved the lighthouses. So I wanted to make sure that I made use of all of the stamp set by using the sailboats this time. And so actually this is kind of inspired by my friend Monica, who's on here tonight, because her mom and dad love to do sailing. And so I wanted to make some kind of a special sailboat card in honor for her. So hi, Monica. It was a great card. Well, thank you. I thought it was I love the neutral tones to it, and it was a lot of fun. And throwing in that little wisp of the knot in there, right into the anchor. So, all right. So here's my case. I went through. I wanted something really clean and simple. Now this one has some die cuts that are cut right into it, into these pieces of DSP that they have. And then they added like a stamp, or it might be some washi, a little bit of stars. But I really like the layout of this. I love the 3 different colors. I love the 3 combination. I love the clean white. So I thought it would be really cool to kind of also go away from the sweet colors and try to do something different to show you how you can take the stamp set outside of the sweet colors and really do something different. So, and here is my card. So you can see it has the same basic layout, the white background, and then it has the 3 blocks, and then I added the sailboats, and then I added my own little like focal point here. So I'm going to show it with you how I'm going to make this card, how I made this card. And also, if you notice, this one is a little bit longer. So I wanted to make sure I represented for all of our markets who do the A2 card. And I know you have lots of them out there, but you can also do this in an A4. So an A2 card is going to be 4 1/8 by 5 7/8. So it's a little bit longer and just 1/8 of an inch shorter on a normal A4 card. All right, I'm just trying to make sure I also see comments. Okay, so basically the way that I did this also is I could have done just like I did in this case. I could have done just these pieces here, but it's flat to me. It's a very flat card. It's only the 1 layer. And so to step up your cards and really create a little bit more of a dramatic card, a wow factor, is to add something with texture on the back of it rather than just like on the front side. So if you did the texture, you can see where it pops up and adds dimension. And I actually am even going to go back on this next one. I'm going to add a little bit of subtle of color on here to kind of make it look like it's a little bit more of a wood grain piece. So, and then again, stamping with the stamp set on the back, doing the die cuts. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have my inks all here ready to go. So let me just open them up and get this card out of the way while I create, or else I'll be getting ink on it like I always do. Your dad's birthday is coming. It would be perfect for him. It would, right? You could do a happy birthday rather than the congrats. Be perfect. Hey, Marty. Okay, so I have Coastal Cabana, Smoky Slate, and Sahara Sand. And let me just move this out of the way. So I have the large, can you guys see this? I want to make sure it's not too much of a glare, but that you can see. Is that better? Great. Love the color combination, right? No one would think to put 2 of these neutrals together with a punch of color, but it really works well with a card. And I love the way that it looks. It's kind of a masculine look. And whenever I think of Coastal Cabana, I always think of my friend Lauren. She loves this color and she uses it quite a bit. So with this, I'm going to start with the lightest tone and then work up to here. So that in that way I don't kind of get, I'm also cleaning off in between each one as well. So I'm going to, let me get my stamp, make sure it's clean, because I don't know if I cleaned it last time. And I stamp off, there you go. I don't have my chamois clean. Hey, oh good. It's yes, it's a Lauren card, right? Color? It is, totally Lauren. All right, so I'm gonna stamp this on a piece of white. Whoops, where'd it go? So I'm gonna do first Sahara Sand. I'm gonna clean, and you know what? My ink pads are really super juicy, so I need a lighter touch on this and not so dark. So let me just do that again. That's better. I want to do a real light touch, so you can see the difference by how juicy my pad is, and just by doing a light touch. And then I'm going to do a light touch on the smoky slate. Perfect. And if you notice, sometimes our inks are darker going on, but then they get lighter. And then let me switch this around because I want to make sure I use all of my white up. This is probably going to be juicy too. Yep. All of these are really juicy. Okay. And then stamp. Perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now take those and do the die cutting. So I'm just going to use the sailboat. Love this piece, and I love that we added that little bit of indentation there to take out that piece so you don't have to do any fussy cutting. Okay, I want to make sure I check. Too funny, haha. Totally my colors, right? Lauren, I know. So your colors. Okay, so let me put those to the side. Let me get some stamping done. So this is the rope piece from the stamp set, and I'm going to add a little pattern, and I'm going to stamp off. So stamping off is stamp off to the side and then stamping on. So it gets a lighter version. And I didn't do that right, so let's just turn that over. Yeah, I'm going to make sure it's centered. Stamp off. I'm just doing it 3 times. Like so. Okay. And then with the, I can't remember what it's called, I'm just going to stamp it twice. And I want to make sure it says west, east, so that I have it correct. And I'm going to stamp off, and I'm going to stamp one up in that top corner. And then I'm going to stamp off, and I'm going to stamp one down here. Okay. And then with the piece here, I'm going to stamp off, and I'm just going to add some birds all over dog hair. We have so much dog hair. My dog sheds so much, especially during the summer. Okay, and like so. So I've got my 3 stamped centers. I'm just gonna put this to the side. I'm gonna go ahead and do all my stamping, so then that way I can do all my die cutting and then do all of my assembly. So I'm using Stays On with the congrats. You could also use the thanks, but I'm gonna use the congrats. I'm gonna give myself plenty of room so I have that die cut banner that I can do. Okay, all right, so I think I got all my stamping done, these pieces, and now I'm going to do my die cutting. Let me grab these. I'm also going to grab a piece of black, piece of Sahara, and I'm going to cut the rope, and I'm going to cut the black piece from here. Okay, all right, and then let me just close these up so I don't. I'm gonna need this one. I'm gonna need smoky slate still, so I'm not putting that away yet. The compass, thank you. Ha ha ha. Okay, so the compass. Could not think of that. Anyways. All right, so go ahead, stamp away. You're just working on your stamping, and you're going to die cut these out. So let me go ahead. My die cutting machine is right over here, so I'm just taking these and lining these up. How many of you are having trouble lining up our new dies? So here's a little tip. If you have poke holes where there's a line and the line kind of hides behind it, you can actually see, it's really, really hard, but you can actually see the line through those poke holes. And those were made deliberately so that you could see the line and still line it up. So if you have, like, for instance, a leaf piece and it has a poke hole at the end, and you can see the leaf line and on that poke hole, that was actually deliberately made that way, so then that way you could see. So if you can see close enough, I don't know if you can, but you can see the poke holes right here, this line, and you can see that line through it. That's when you know that you have it lined up. Now, I don't use the magnetic, there we go, that's where I want it, because it moves, and that always drives me nuts. So, I have washi. Any kind of old washi will do. I use the washi instead. So I'll line up my piece. I'll place it not on the stamp image, but on the piece and then on the side here so that I can run it through and it holds still. Okay. All right. Voila. And then I'm just gonna pull this off and do the next one. Make sure I line it up. So I hope you're stamping along or watching patiently. I love that you guys are able to come back and do replays and rewatch as much as you want. Look how lovely that just cuts out so nicely. So I need to make sure that you punch out that piece there. Oh, I see someone say some poke holes. Bro. Poke holes, right? The little poke holes. Washi tape idea of cutting as a curve, making it extra hard to line up. Yes. So use all your extra washi tape that you have. And yeah, they will get curved. Another tip I do, if you notice, I have two pads. One is used a lot and the other is not. So I will rotate this bottom one using all my cutting, and when this one is really like done, like I just can't use it anymore, it's too much, I'll move this one to my new cutting pad, and then I'll go buy a new set, and that will become my new top one. So my top one is always a nice, smooth, clear, so then I don't get the imprints on my, especially like on foil or anything like that. So, but yeah, washi does help hold it in place, and I use that rather than that magnet sheet. So. And yes, I know that these are sold out, so I hope you got some before they went away. Let me save this. I'm going to turn this over. Gonna do my congrats. Getting all my pieces done. Now these I'm not going to worry about because they're just straight die cut, but I'm going to do them both at the same time. So I'm just going to add them, and do it one swift, and I'm done. Okay. All right. Have everything put together. Leave this all to the side now. Oh, all right, so now, forgot one more thing. Okay, don't have the dies, so I'm fussy cutting. Hey, that works too. Fussy cutting is totally fine. I love fussy cutting. It is one of my ultimate favorite things to do, is doing some fussy cutting, so that's fine as well. And then if you don't have the rope one, you could just use the twine. But you'll see the twine, but you could just use some twine if you don't have the rope one. And then you could just create a little line for this other little piece underneath. So that's no problem. And you can always cut this out and just make a regular flag as well. You can just take it straight across and add a little snippets at the end. So I think that'd be fine. All right, so now I'm going to, remember going back to my card, I'm going to use the pine wood planks to add some texture to the card, and I'm going to give you a little tip on that. So on my card I have thick white card base because I want it to be really sturdy, but I don't want to use the thick white on the embossing folder because it doesn't cause it to have enough grain, and so I'm going to just use a regular piece of Whisper White. And so this is just slightly smaller than the card, so that I have a little layer, and I'm going to run it through the pine wood plank, and I want it to be the length of it this long, so it's 5 1/4, I think. Let me just double check. 5 5/8 by 3 5/8. So just a little 3.5 plus 1 and 5.5 plus 1. Okay. So what you need to do in order to get that really deep ingrained look and make that come out is using your spritzer with some water. So what you do is you take your spritzer and you hold the cardstock and you shoot it 3 times on the front and 3 times on the back. And you want a nice light mist. You don't want it to be heavily soaked. I can't do it here on the video or else I get everything all wet. But you want to just spritz, and I always use my thumb because I have better control with my thumb than I do with my index finger. So use your thumb. So I'm going to spritz 3 times on the front, 3 times on the back. So I'm just kind of taking it over, and what you're doing is you're adding a little moisture to the paper so that it becomes pliable. So I'm going to now stick that inside here where I want it to go, and I want it to be centered on the grids. Let me make sure that's where I got it. Okay, and then I'm going to run it through my die machine. Yeah, I still have all the old stuff. Still use it, patiently waiting, like so. So you can see how by giving it a little bit of moisture, it becomes deeper. And I just want to let it dry just a little bit. It's kind of soaked, so I don't want to put anything on this until it's dry. So the other thing I did with this card is I left it white. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then when I went back and I did my pizza box, I was like, wait a minute, let's add some texture and color to this. So what I did is I love the sponges. I don't like the sponge daubers as much because the sponge dauber creates that circular when you first start, and I like the sponge. And I always just take a punch and put the color that I use on the sponge on this piece here. So this is the decorative label punch, I think. Yeah. And I just stamp it with, staple it right onto the sponge, and that kind of makes it a holder. And so I'm going to ink up my sponge really well with some smoky slate. And then I'm just going to wisp it. And I'm going to start lightly and turn it. And wouldn't this be pretty in Coastal Cabana? Oh yeah. So you could do like kind of a combination even. So I'm just adding a little bit lightly color, giving it some dimension, so you can see how you get a little bit more dimension onto that. I don't want to do too much, make it look real blobby, but just a nice light wispy touch to that top. All right, good enough. Okay, closing my ink pad before I get anything in it. All right, and then I'm just going to take some dimensionals and I'm going to pop this to give a little bit of a height to it. A little bit of a longer card, so I want to make sure that I'm covering all my corners and then I'm covering the centerpiece for support. These things I find all over my house all the time. I have a little trash can. You ever watch Rachel Ray? She always has the trash can on the side. So that's what I do. Or else I have one down here and I just kind of throw it behind me, which sometimes it hits the garbage can, sometimes not. Oh, there's one. All right. Now I'm just going to take this and layer this centered like so. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to start putting all my pieces together. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and do some dimensionals on my sailboats. Doing one on the top, 2 each is enough. There's no need to waste those precious dimensionals. It'll stick. Sponging really adds the plank embossing. It does, right? Kind of like it. I should pull those other ones off, put them on. All right, and so then I'm just popping those up on the same color. And if you didn't get the measurement of these, they were on the supply list, and they are 2 by 2 5/8. 2 by 2 5/8. So just the perfect size just to fill in that piece. Since this was cut the other way, I'm just gonna, as I turned it over, there we go. All right, and now I'm just gonna take some snail and just give 2, this is the way I do it, 2 first, adding some snail. I remember when I started like 15 years ago stamping, I would do every single corner and easy. Now I'm just like bump bump, it's done. It'll hold. All right, so I want to kind of start with layering these. Ooh, I like the way that pops in there. And just layering these right over top of each other. Kind of turning them a little bit. Pressing down, make sure I got a lot, shaking you guys. All right, and then I'm going to take some adhesive and just, I'm going to just take and kind of cover that up like so. And then I'm going to snip this. So I'm going to measure the width that I want. I don't want it to be the entire length. So, and then I'm going to snip it to where I want to cut it, and then I'll round it out a little bit. So great tip to just, that you can alter the dies. And then I'm just going to take and maybe just add like a little more rounded edges, so it looks like it actually was one of the dies. You could always line it, reline it up and just cut a part of it, but yeah. All right, and then I'm going to, I forgot how I did this. I put a little bit of adhesive and then laid it on top. Okay, it's not working. I'm trying to do this with the camera right in my face. There we go. And now when I put dimensionals on there, that'll even hold it better. So I'm just gonna do dimensionals. Dimensionals, great. See? Okay, and then the reason why I added the black is because when I put this white down, another design little tip, when I put the white down, there was no definition about where it was because of all this white that was going on here. So I added the black, kind of gives it more of a central focus. And like so. Okay. All right, so now to finish off, I'm going to grab one of the trinkets. I'm going to grab one of the little anchors. And I'm going to grab some of the baker's twine. So I'm just going to cut a piece. And I'm going to remove that navy, because there's no navy in this. But I love the way that when you pull one thread out, it gives the look, it kind of gives it more of even a better rope look. So I love that. And then I'm just going to, I'm going in with a loop. And then I'm going to pull it back through. Always give yourself enough, and then you can trim it down. And I always trim after I get it on my card. So I'm just going to grab my glue dots. You guys see this is all good? Awesome. Hope everybody's still joining along. I see there's about 20 some people on. That's awesome. Okay, and then I'm just going to put some glue dots on this piece. One at the bottom, one at the top to make sure it's secure. And add that. And then, once I have it done, I'm just gonna snip like so. So you can see the dimension, or you can go with a straight white. Depends on what you want to do. Super easy, kind of like a block coloring kind of thing. All right, thank you. Okay, so now let me show you what I did with this next piece. I kind of have already everything assembled. So I have some pieces, and let's finish the box. Okay, so the first thing I did is I took my spritzer and I filled it with alcohol, and I used the 70% alcohol. You can use the 90, whatever you got on hand. And then I put 10 drops of the Coastal Cabana reinker. So once I did that, I shook it up, I laid out my box, and then on a piece of scrap piece of paper, and then I used my thumb and I spritzed it. And it's not, I didn't use quite all of it, but pretty close. I filled it all the way to the line. So I spritzed it, generously giving it the color, okay? And I didn't really care if it was perfect or not, because I'm gonna cover this part too, and no one sees the bottom anyway. So they opened the gift and like, huh. All right, so then I took the same thing, the pine wood plank, distressed it with the smoky slate, and this is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and I'm just gonna add this. I think I'm gonna get these with the dimensionals. Sometimes when you do the 3D embossing folders, when you put snail on it and it has that dimension, it won't stick. So I always use the dimensionals to stick it on, and then it just pops it up and gives it even more dimension, but then I know it's there and it sticks. And I'm gonna put one in the center for support. Okay. Everybody's still following along? Great. And then I'm just going to put this down on my box. Okay, so then I took a piece of the Sahara sand and I ran it through with my stitched circles. And I used the largest circle. So I just used it with that one. And I also cut a piece of the DSP, which is, this one's my favorite. I love this one. So I didn't use this much on the other ones, but it was also on my other card too. So you can see where the love started. So I cut out another one of the stitch circles with that. And then I took a circle, one of our layered circles, and then I cut out the center here. So it kind of has that kind of like porthole look. And I'm going to just add this. Oh, where's my dimensionals? My minis. There they are. So I'm just going to add this on top with some mini dimensionals. I love our mini dimensionals. I know you can cut the other ones, but mini ones are nice and easy to use. You could even like go way overboard and add the, our brads with these too. That would be kind of cute. Tanya needs to go. You'll have to come back and see the box. Hey, Melissa. Great to have you here. If you missed anything, don't worry. The video will post afterwards and you can rewatch it. I'm making a mess over here with my dimensional pieces. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of want this to be at the top. So I'm just going to line it up. This is really hard to do with a camera right in your face. There. Okay. And then I'm going to add some adhesive. You could also use multi-purpose glue if you wanted to. I'm going to add this right here. And the reason why I picked this is because this part looks very like negative, and this is the pretty part where it's going to show, and this is where I'm going to put this, so I want it to cover it up. So I'm going to add this here. Okay, and then mini glue dots are awesome. I'm just going to put a couple of the mini glue dots on the bottom. This is the die cut. That's the greenery piece, and I just did it out of basic black. Oop, there it is. I was going to show you. Like so. And I'm just going to put that right here. And then I'm going to add one more on the back, right here where this bridge is, and push it down. Okay. All right, and so what I did with this piece, I stamped the anchor in Coastal Cabana, and then I grabbed my blender pen while it was wet, and then I just kind of used it. Oops, see, I use my blender pen is red on this side and blue's on this side. So I just grabbed my blender pen and I kind of moved that ink to kind of color it in. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things for all this kind of like line art filling piece if you just want the color. So that's what I did there. Don't use your blender pen too much because it'll make the paper soft, and then you'll get it too wet. So just a little. And then I did the same thing with the thread, or the baker's twine that I did with the other one on the card, as I just left it long. And I like having this one a little bit frayed, and I'm going to wrap it around and back over. Wait, did I do it that way? I can't remember now. Yeah, like this. So I'm just going to line it up, and if I want it to stick where I want it to go, I'm just going to add a glue dot underneath there so it doesn't move. So I'm just going to take a glue dot. Okay. Stay. My glue dot doesn't want to stay. Why does my glue dot want to stay? Probably because it's sticking to my finger. There we go. temperamental thing. I'm gonna wrap this around. And back underneath, like so. I might cut that a little bit. Fray those ends just a little bit so it looks like it's a little worn. And then I'm going to add this with some mini dimensionals. That's what you should do. Right onto here. And then I stamped the, let hope be the anchor to the storms of your life, of life. And I stamped that and then cut it out with a die cut that comes with it. I love that they come out with this die cut with it. I love that label piece. And I'm just gonna add some dimensional just on the left side and a little snail on the right side, because that's the side that's gonna go on this piece here. I know, Lauren, this is totally your style, right? Oh, totally could turn this into a card too. You totally could turn this into two cards. You could do the one other card and then you could do this one. I'm just going to place that just so. And then last, I'm going to take the wheel with a glue dot. Glue dots are giving me an issue tonight. There we go. And I'm just going to place it right here on the side. Voila. There we go. There is the gift box. So you can see, let me just move all my little pieces here. Clean up my mess. So you have a great little congratulations with a gift box. This would be a great graduation gift. You could give it as a graduation gift. You could give it as a birthday. You could change this to a birthday sentiment, but I love this. I think it would be awesome to give as a graduation gift and stick a gift card in there, some money. Kids always in college today need some money, so I thought that would be a great idea. I'll be saving this. My daughter will be graduating this next year, 2020, so this would be totally perfect for her. It can be masculine or it could be feminine, so it would be perfect. So, all right, so I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you like the texture on this, or should I just leave it plain? I don't know. I think I could go either way. What about if I did it in the Coastal Cabana? I wonder what the difference would be. So if you guys share and do some different color combinations as well, share with us and let us know what you do. I think, find a different color palette to take it outside of the sweet colors and really kind of to use to whatever you need to have your card for. So, love the texture. Awesome. Thank you. Someone said I was a superstar. Oh, Jennifer, I love you. Okay. All right. Oop, let me get back here. Okay. Woo. Alrighty. So that was my tutorial. I'll get the photographs put up. I'll take pictures tomorrow morning now that I have my card box done, and I'll put it up onto our photo album of our tutorial photos. And then remember, at the end of the month, we'll have the supply list, tutorials, and all the links all put together. So love the sponge color. Okay, good. All right, then I'm going to go with this one then for the photography. So make sure that that's in there. So excited for next week is Jen Frost. She's going to be bringing you to her next tutorial. And if you didn't see it, we have our September program blog hop right now is on our blogs. And we are doing the Daisy Lane. It is amazing what we have planned next month for this. If you thought you saw Daisy Lane like to the max, you've seen so many samples. And believe me, I did all the samples in the catalog, and I was like, I never want to see Daisy Lane again. But my girls, Krista, Jen, Susan, and I, we all have this like crazy idea to really take it into like a holiday kind of thing. So the sneak peek really shows you. So did you guys see my card? Hello! I love this. Let's think fall with a daisy. Hello! I have like 3 more ideas to do too for a fall card. I'm so excited. And this has lots of different, I don't know, can you see? There are tons of different ways, techniques on this card. And I'm going to be sharing how to make all of this with other technique, with these same techniques in different projects. And so I love, love, love the colors. It is so fun and so neat. You really can share, if you're a demonstrator, you can share these ideas with your customers and show them how far this Daisy Lane bundle can go by just mixing it with other pieces that you have. Krista did 2 Christmas cards. Amazing. And then we got a spring one and we got a summer one from Susan and Jen. So make sure you go check it out. Sign up today, subscribe. We have a special, it's our 3-month subscription. So you'll get September, October, and November with your subscription for a discounted price. And subscribe. You're going to get tons of ideas and all kinds of interaction just like you did here for this free month. And it is so much fun, you guys. We love having you here. We love sharing and inspiring and teaching. So please come join us. It's just so much fun. It's a great thing. So we love it. And that's why we continue to do it, because we love it so much. So we hope you guys will join us. Look for Jen's event invite soon. She'll be doing her invite, so make sure you click that you're going, so then that way you get the notification when that goes live. And I guess that's all I have to say. But thanks, guys, for joining me tonight. Love you all. Thanks.